I woke up to my dishwasher screaming. Lights were flickering. The AC cut out. And outside my window, the HOA was wiring a public EV charger straight into my house. You gotta understand, this house, it wasn't just some random box I bought off Zillow. I grew up here. My dad built this place back in '79. Not a fancy house. Simple, solid, like he was. He poured the foundation with 3 of his buddies from the plant. Laid every brick himself. I still remember being maybe 6 or 7, sitting on the porch, watching him up on the roof like a lunatic in jeans and a sleeveless shirt, nailing down the last row of shingles by hand. The wiring? That was our project together. I was maybe 12 when he handed me my first set of lineman's pliers. Taught me to strip wire, run conduit, solder connections clean. We worked nights in the basement, sometimes with a single bulb hanging on a cord, both of us covered in sweat and dust, swearing and laughing. When he passed 10 years ago, there wasn't even a question of selling. I inherited the house, packed up my apartment downtown, and moved in the next weekend. And I made it mine. First thing I did was gut the old breaker panel, rewired everything to code. No more spaghetti mess of half-century-old cloth wires. Then I added solar, tied it to a smart inverter, hooked in battery backup so the place could run clean even when the grid hiccuped. I wasn't trying to go full prepper or some backwoods off-grid lunatic. I just loved the work. I loved knowing that when I flipped a switch, the power humming through those walls was running through a system I built, wire by wire, circuit by circuit. It was a point of pride. This house wasn't some passive asset, it was a project. A living machine I understood inside and out. And it wasn't just about electricity. The whole place, HVAC, security, lighting, ran off an integrated system I'd designed myself. So when the HOA started floating green community initiatives about a year back, I was all for it. Who wouldn't be? Cleaner energy, more sustainable transportation, yeah, count me in. We had a couple of town hall style meetings at the community center. Travis Nolan, our HOA president, you'll hear more about this guy, stood up there in his little Patagonia fleece vest and started pitching public EV charging stations to attract a younger, eco-conscious buyer demographic. Fine, great idea, until he put up the slide with the site plan. One of those shiny little EV stations? Parked right at the edge of the greenbelt, 50 feet from my house. I wasn't thrilled, but whatever. It's public space. Then Travis goes, "To save on installation costs, we'll leverage existing local infrastructure. Several of our homeowners already have enhanced grid connections that can support higher load taps." I felt my stomach drop. My hand shot up. "Excuse me, when you say enhanced grid connections, what exactly do you mean?" Travis gave me that politician smile. "Oh, just standard language. Of course we'll coordinate with any affected homeowners." "Yeah, you better. You're not touching my line. This house is on a closed loop. No public tap, no shared meter. You try it and we'll have a problem." He laughed. "Absolutely, Miles. Of course. We'd never do that without your consent." The whole room kind of chuckled and moved on. Meeting adjourned. I thought that was that. But you know what I should have remembered? In HOA speak, of course, means we already made the deal. A couple weeks go by. I figure maybe they got the message. Maybe Travis actually listened for once in his life. Then I get the power bill. Now, I'm not one of those guys who sits there staring at their utility app every day, but I like keeping an eye on it. Habit from building the system out myself. I open it up over coffee one morning and my jaw hits the floor. My baseline usage? Maybe 400, 500 kilowatt hours a month, tops. Efficient house. Well insulated. Half the time the solar's feeding more back to the grid than I'm pulling. This bill? 2,168 kilowatt hours. 4 times my normal usage, nearly $1,000. First thought? Something's broken. Inverter failure, maybe a short somewhere. I check the system logs. Everything's normal. Solar production's fine, house load looks normal. But there's this huge sustained draw showing on the grid side, starting about 5 nights ago. And that's when it clicks. 5 nights ago, that's when I saw the trucks out by the park. Thought it was city maintenance or something. I throw on a jacket, grab my meter, and walk out to the corner. There it is. One brand new level 3 EV charger, all shiny and humming away, with a couple Teslas already parked and plugged in. I pop the access panel on the sidewalk junction box, because yeah, I know the codes, and sure enough, conduit running straight under the greenbelt toward my service trench. I follow it. Walk around to the back of my property, pop open my external service vault, and there it is, a fresh tap neatly spliced into my main feed running out toward the park. Somebody, Travis's people, hooked that station up to my line. No notice, no consent, no nothing. I'm standing there in the cold, staring at this illegal hack job when a van pulls up. Out steps this guy in a contractor vest with the logo of Nolan Infrastructure Group. That's Travis's old buddy's company. Yeah, he sees me at the vault and walks over like it's no big deal. Morning, everything okay? I just point at the splice. You want to explain this? He gives me this sheepish grin. Yeah, temporary hookup. We're waiting on final city approval for the main tap, just using local infrastructure for now. Should only be a couple weeks. Temporary hookup? Off my private feed? Are you out of your mind? He shrugs. We had authorization from HOA. They said it was fine. I didn't say it was fine. That line is protected. You've committed theft. And you know what this guy says? Look, man, I'm just following work orders. If you got a problem, take it up with Travis. Then he gets back in his van and drives off. I stand there for a long minute, staring at that splice. Part of me wants to rip it out right there on the spot. But I know how this game works. If I touch it, they'll turn it on me. Tampering with public infrastructure or some crap like that. So I take photos, document everything, lock the vault, and head inside to start writing some very pointed emails. This wasn't some misunderstanding. This was Travis telling me he owns this neighborhood, and he thinks he owns me. Well, buddy, you just picked the wrong wire to cross. I fire off the emails, city utilities, the HOA board, Travis himself. Lay it all out, unauthorized connection, theft of power, violation of property rights, no response. Not a single one. 2 days later, I'm out front pulling weeds when this patrol car rolls up. One cop, mid-40s, stocky, shaved head. Never seen him around before. He steps out, gives me the smile. You know the one, not friendly, not polite. The smile that says, I'm here to remind you who's boss. Morning, Mr. Connor. Got a report about a resident interfering with public works. Figured we'd stop by, see what's going on. I laugh. You mean the theft of my electricity? Yeah, I'm very aware. He tilts his head. Sir, that charging station is part of the HOA Green Initiative. We're told you've been making threats to sabotage it. I haven't touched a damn thing, but if anyone's sabotaging anything, it's your buddies pulling power off my private line. He shrugs like it's out of his hands. Look, I'm not here to get in the middle of a property dispute, just here to advise. Don't interfere with public infrastructure, could be considered a felony. Then he leaves. Just like that. No report, no investigation, just a nice little warning. That's when it hits me. Travis isn't stupid. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's got half the local police force on his Christmas card list from his city council days. He's not trying to win this legally. He's trying to scare me off. Next day, the HOA website posts a cheery little update. Thanks to your support, our first public EV charger is live. Special thanks to community leaders for helping us launch this green initiative. No mention of the fact it's wired through my house. Then the kicker. 2 days after that, I get a letter. Certified mail. Homeowners Association Legal Counsel. Dear Mr. Connor, we have received reports of your hostile behavior toward contractors and interference with community projects. Be advised that further actions may result in fines or legal action as per HOA bylaws, Section 14C. Hostile behavior? I took some photos and asked a guy what he was doing. And then, cherry on top, another police visit. This time, 2 officers straight to the door. We're responding to a complaint about threats made toward HOA contractors. I show them the photos, show them the splice, show them my utility bill. They don't care. One of them even says, look man, if you've got a problem, take it to court. But I'm telling you, don't touch that charger. That's when I know. This isn't about a charger. This is about control. Travis thinks he can bully me into backing down. I start running the numbers. The station's pulling a constant 40 amps when active. That's hundreds of bucks a week. And I'm supposed to eat it? I take more photos, record every reading, log every police visit, every email, and I start building my case. Because if Travis wants a fight, he just got one. So first thing, I do what they told me. Take it to court. Fine, not straight to court, but the proper channels. I file a complaint with the City Utilities Commission. Detailed. Full logs, photos of the splice, meter readings, copy of my last 2 bills, and a notarized copy of my property's electrical easement, proving the line is private, not municipal. A week goes by, nothing. Then I get a polite little email. Thank you for your submission. Our investigation found no evidence of municipal involvement in the EV charging station installation. Please contact your HOA for further resolution. I read that sentence about 5 times. No municipal involvement? That was the whole damn point. Of course it wasn't city installed. It was Travis's pet project. So I file a second complaint, this time with the State Public Utilities Regulatory Authority. Bigger teeth, broader scope. I also send certified letters to the HOA board, every single member. No more emails they can ignore. physical documents they have to sign for. I demand immediate removal of the unauthorized connection and full reimbursement of all associated utility costs. Failure to comply will result in civil action. 2 days later, I get a letter back from the HOA's attorney. Mr. Connor, the HOA board has reviewed your claims and finds them without merit. As the EV station serves a public good and was approved per board vote, temporary use of local infrastructure is within the scope of community utility practices. Any attempt to interfere will be met with legal action. I show that letter to a lawyer friend of mine, a guy named Jeremy. He used to do contract law for construction firms. He laughs. That's a steaming pile of horse. Yeah, they've got nothing legal to stand on, but they're betting you won't want the hassle. Yeah, they were betting wrong. Meanwhile, the bills keep coming. Another cycle, another grand out of pocket. I start calling the city council, the mayor's office. No answers, no returned calls. Finally, I get a hold of one junior council member, guy I met once at a local electronics club meetup of all places. I lay it out for him. He listens, pauses, and says, "Look, off the record, Travis is pushing hard on this whole green image thing. He's got a lot of city backing right now. You're gonna hit walls if you try to go through the usual channels." So what the hell am I supposed to do? Document everything, build your case, and if you really want traction, find something they can't bury. I hang up. Sit there for a long time. They've got the city, the HOA board, and even the cops running cover for them. And me? I'm just one guy with a house and a hacked power line. But I know systems, and every system leaves a paper trail. So I start digging. I start with public records. HOA filings, city permits, council meeting minutes, everything that's legally supposed to be on file. Takes me a couple nights. I've got 2 monitors going, coffee on drip, piles of sticky notes creeping across the desk. And then I hit it. Buried in a planning commission agenda from 6 months back. Community EV infrastructure grant application. Fast track approval request. Okay, fine, I knew they applied for funding, but here's the kicker. Attached is a project outline. Guess who signed off as the primary infrastructure liaison? Not the city, not the utilities company. Travis Nolan, HOA president. And in the footnotes? Interim grid access to be provided via pre-existing HOA managed assets, pending municipal upgrade. HOA managed assets. Now, I know my easement. I know my grid connection is explicitly private property, grandfathered in from when this land used to be outside the original HOA boundary. There is no such thing as an HOA managed asset on my property. So how the hell did they classify it that way? I keep digging. Couple more late nights, a few polite but firm emails to the state's Public Grant Oversight Office, pretending to be an interested resident following community sustainability efforts. And finally, I get a scanned copy of the grant disbursement request. There it is, in black and white. Existing private grid assets available for interim use courtesy of HOA partnership with local stakeholders. Signed by Travis, and guess who's listed as the contractor? Nolan Infrastructure Group, his buddy's company. At this point, I'm fuming, but there's more. One of the attachments is a community stakeholder consent log. I scroll through it. Names, signatures, mostly HOA board members, and then Miles Connor signed consent on file. What the hell? I never signed a damn thing. They forged my consent? That's when it all clicks. They needed that box checked to get the grant money flowing fast. And Travis? He's trying to parlay this whole Green Hero act into a run for city council next election. The EV station is his big showpiece, but they got sloppy. They left a paper trail, a forged one. Now I've got them, and I call Jeremy, lay it all out. He whistles. Buddy, that's felony fraud. That's jail time if you play it right. You think it's enough? Oh, it's enough, but you'll need proof that they knew it was forged. I've got a signature that isn't mine. That's a start. Then it's time to go public. And just like that, this little wire fight turned into a goddamn war. The second I hang up with Jeremy, I start printing everything. Not just PDFs, hard copies. 2 full binders, one for me, one for him. Because here's the thing about people like Travis, they think if it's online, they can make it disappear. But forged signatures on grant documents? Those don't vanish so easy once they're in the state's hands. Jeremy gets to work drafting a formal demand letter and prepping a criminal complaint. Meanwhile, I start thinking bigger. You can't just take a guy like Travis down in a back room. You have to drag him into the light. And lucky for me, I know someone who's very good at turning on the lights. An old friend from high school, Sarah, runs the local paper's investigative desk. We haven't talked in a couple years, but when I shoot her a message with the subject line, HOA president committed grant fraud, she calls me back in 10 minutes flat. "Is this real?" she asks. "I've got the documents, forged my signature. They're stealing power off my house right now to juice up that EV station." "Jesus, send everything you've got, now." I do. Whole package, photos, utility bills, city records, grant documents, that consent log with my fake signature. Half an hour later, she texts me back. "Sources confirm. Travis is using this for a city council run. This story is going to blow up. You ready?" Born ready. Meanwhile, Jeremy files the criminal complaint with the state AG's office and the Grant Oversight Board. Felony fraud, forged documents, theft of services, you name it. But I'm not done yet. That weekend, I set up cameras, lots of them motion activated, hidden, focused on the service vault, the splice, and the charger itself. I want eyes on that line 24/7. Because the second Travis or his contractors try to cover their tracks, I want it on video. Next, I reach out to a state-certified forensic document examiner. Costs a pretty penny, but worth it. She confirms in writing, the signature on that consent log is not mine. Full report ready to go. By now, I'm barely sleeping, running on adrenaline and bad coffee, but every move has to be precise. I know Travis, he's a snake. He'll try to weasel out the second he smells heat. So I wait. Monday morning, Sarah calls. "Paper's running the story front page tomorrow. We're naming names. You ready for your quote?" Hit me. I keep it simple. All I wanted was for them to stop stealing my power. Now I want them held accountable. Nobody is above the law, not even the HOA. I hang up, sit back, and take a deep breath. For the first time in weeks, I feel like I'm not the one getting pushed around. Tomorrow, the whole damn town is going to know exactly what Travis did, and this time, he won't be able to spin it. Next morning, I'm up early, couldn't sleep worth a damn. Coffee in one hand, laptop open, refreshing the local news site like some kind of maniac. And boom, there it is. Front page. HOA president implicated in grant fraud, power theft, scandal. Big bold headline, right under it, photos of my house, the EV charger, the damn service vault with my private line wide open for the world to see. And my quote, plain as day, all I wanted was for them to stop stealing my power. Now I want them held accountable. Didn't take long after that. Phone starts lighting up. Neighbors, old friends, even my cousin from 2 states over. Everyone saw it. Then the HOA board scrambles, calls this emergency meeting. Of course, I'm not invited. Wouldn't have gone if they begged me. Didn't matter. My side was already moving. Jeremy had filed everything with the state AG's office and the grant board. Sarah and the paper had more stories in the pipeline. This wasn't going to blow over in a day. And then I get a text from Sarah. Sources say Travis is trying to spin it. He's telling folks it was all a contractor screw-up. You got eyes on your place? You bet I did. I'd rigged up cameras around the service vault and the charger, hidden, motion-activated, with audio. Good thing too, because not long after, here comes a van from Nolan Infrastructure Group. 2 guys hop out, looking nervous as hell. Next thing I know, they're yanking conduit and trying to strip out the fresh tap from my service line. And I'm watching the whole thing go down from across the street, sitting in my buddy's truck with a camera running. Got the whole thing, video, audio, everything. I send it straight to Sarah. Didn't take her long. Next headline hits fast. Caught on camera, contractors attempt to remove evidence in HOA power theft case. At that point, Travis's whole little contractor error excuse is dead in the water. Now the fun really starts. Council members, ones who wouldn't return a single one of my calls a week ago, suddenly want to talk. We take these allegations very seriously. Yeah, no kidding. And the HOA message board? Total meltdown. Post after post. Why did our president forge documents? How did this happen under our noses? Who's paying the legal bills for this mess? Me? I'm just sitting back, watching it unfold. But the best part? Later that day, cop car pulls up again, and this time, they're not here to give me grief. They walk right past my place, straight up to Travis's front door. And a few minutes later, there he is, walking out in cuffs. Right there on his perfectly manicured HOA-approved lawn. That smug look finally wiped off his face. Photographer from the paper's already snapping shots. By the time the next issue hits, the whole damn county's seen it. HOA president arrested for grant fraud and power theft. And me? I'm finally sitting on my porch, sipping a well-earned cup of coffee, watching it all play out like a bad movie. Only this time, I liked the ending. It's funny how fast people change their tune once there's a headline and a mugshot floating around. One day, I'm just that guy causing problems about the charger. Next thing you know, I'm the homeowner who stood up to HOA corruption. Same people, different story. After the arrest, it was like a damn switch flipped. City Council finally got off their ass, put out this nice little public statement about investigating procedural lapses in grant administration. Translation: we're gonna pretend we had no idea what Travis was up to. Then the HOA calls a special public meeting. First one they've actually invited me to in a long time. I figured, hell yeah, I'll go. I earned that seat. So I show up, room's packed, standing room only, more folks than I'd ever seen at one of these meetings. I bring my binder, copies of everything, signature analysis, utility bills, the whole damn trail. Not that I needed it anymore, half the room had already read the articles. The acting board president gets up, tries to keep it calm. As you all know, recent events have caused significant concern among our community members. We are here tonight to address those concerns and begin the process of moving forward. Moving forward? Yeah, right. So I raise my hand. Before we move forward, I've got a question. Who else on this board knew about the forged consent, and who approved pulling power off my private line? You could have heard a pin drop. A couple board members looked like they wanted to disappear under the table. Others just stared at the floor. Finally, one of the newer members speaks up, clearly nervous. We were told everything was in order. We didn't see the actual consent forms. Yeah, convenient. I didn't push it. The damage was already done. The whole room saw what they needed to see. These people either didn't know what was going on, or they'd looked the other way. A few neighbors actually came up afterward, quiet, respectful. Hey Miles, sorry we didn't speak up sooner. That was messed up. I appreciated it, didn't need the apology, but it was good to know the tide had turned. By the end of the meeting, Travis was officially removed as HOA president, pending the legal outcome, of course. Not that he'd be coming back anytime soon. The board also voted, under a hell of a lot of public pressure, to cover every cent of the power bills they'd stuck me with. Full reimbursement, plus a formal apology, which I made damn sure was read into the meeting record. And the cherry on top? They agreed to bring in an outside auditor to review all current HOA projects for legal compliance. I'm guessing there were a few other skeletons in those closets they didn't want unearthed. Did I trust the board now? Hell no, but at least they knew someone was watching. And more importantly, so did the whole damn neighborhood. A couple months later, things finally settled down. The charger? Gone. They ripped it out about a week after the arrest, quietly, no fanfare. The city's pushing for a proper municipal install now on a completely separate grid line, like they should have done in the first place. My power bills are back to normal, got my reimbursement check, though I cashed it into a separate account just in case those clowns tried anything funny later. As for Travis, last I heard he took a nice little plea deal, avoided jail time, but he won't be running for city council, or any council for that matter, and he's barred from holding any HOA leadership positions. Ever. Good enough for me. I didn't do this to ruin the guy's life. I just wanted them to stop stealing my damn electricity and thinking they could get away with it. Now? I sit on my porch most evenings, cup of coffee in hand, looking out over the greenbelt. Service vault's got a brand new lock on it, and a little sign I added, just for fun. Private line. Trespassers pay double. It gets a chuckle from the delivery guys, but around here, everyone knows I mean it.